to Demery Cots for more scores.
Yes, Division 4 half-time. Whitehorse Pioneers 11.5.71, well ahead of Coldstream 5.5.35.
Fantastic. So certainly a lot of scores filtering through. Brad and Gav rejoin us in commentary. What about your predictions for this second half? Are you going to go out on a limb and pick one team to win here, Brad?
It's a hard one, isn't it? I mean, it's absolutely 50-50 at this stage, which is not saying much because it's a 2-point.
Go out on a limb, Bradley.
Nah, it's all right.
I'll
tip a draw, maybe.
I'll tip Vermont, because until they do lose a game this year, I'm not going to tip them to lose. Like, I'm not going to tip them to lose until they have lost one. They haven't done that so far this year, so I'll go with Vermont. They'll find a way to win to get it done.
And Gav, your predictions for the second half?
Well, based on the first half, I'd say South Croydon, but the rain might change the way the game's played, so it might have no bearing on what we're about to see, if you know what I mean, Damo. So in that regard, I think Vermont plays some smart footy, so the rain might suit them. But we'll just wait and see, because South Croydon's had 13 shots to 6, so that's a snapshot of the game.
Yeah, it is indeed. As the second half gets underway, the rain very heavy at this stage as Schneider fed it out to McComb. McComb's long, high kick. No mark taken back there by Crowell. Cox did well, got his handball away. Tobin spun out of the tackle, throws it on the boot into open space to kick. And a bit of a fumble there by Wale Buxton. And did he put it out of bounds on the full? The umpire said no. So boundary throw in true wing position right in front of the social club here at Cheong Park.
Has to lift Big Buxton against Maxi King. Probably had his measure in the first half.
Yeah, I think King's, the ruck hit outs that King won were a lot more effective, had much more control over his taps. Close to the boundary line, socket off the ground. Alice was confronted and bundled over the boundary line, high tackle. So free kick there against Molnar goes to Andy Ellis.
Got to go back over the mark.
Yeah, by not allowing Ellis there to run around the player on the mark in Molnar.
Especially when he's explaining the free kick.
Ellis's long kick, big pack contesting. Eddie gave the handball away, was intercepted by Jones. And Jones's kick was marked by Rosier, who tried to handball along quickly, was intercepted by McCafferty, and that's a great goal by McCafferty, probably the goal of the day. Vermont get their 6th, and they lead by 4 points. Less than 2 minutes into the third quarter.
Rosier was told to play on because it was touched off the boot, so he knew straight away to spoon the hand pass off.
Let's go to Matt Fodey, a boundary side.
First of all, Buxton did kick that out in the full. The boundary umpire missed that, and Stephen Donnell's definitely not involved in the game anymore. He's got the jeans on and he's ready to take up his role as backline coach.
There you go. And that was a great goal, though, by McCafferty in the wet conditions to burrow through, find some space and get a very effective kick forward. Great effort.
Smart play by the Eagles. Nearly Parker being tackled off the ball away from that congested centre circle area where it's a crowded area and the umpire will come in again to ball it up. Buxton uses his body before he goes to the tap, taps it down, but it's Dan King who run onto it at the back of the square. Crocker spoons a hand pass off to the running teammate, and it's a long driving ball deep into the forward line to defenders. We're a bit panicked, not knowing where to punch it, and at ground level Preto picks it up, but he's been escorted over the boundary line in the pocket.
Well, they are pressing Vermont in this term, getting it long and deep inside that forward 50. It's always going to put the defenders under pressure in the wet conditions and makes it liable for a kick off the ground in these conditions.
Boundary throw in 20 metres around from the goals for Vermont. Ainger's just trying to push Max King out of the way, but King does well to butter up onto the ball. Gets out to Dan King, who was just standing forward of the pack, and he just kicks it long into the centre corridor. The numbers will win out with Parker, giving a hand pass over to Preto. He's been pushed off the ball, so in the middle of the ground. Can Cass organise something? His short kick was well telegraphed, and coming in Davidson late, takes a good mark on the wing. Short to Snyder, on the up, gives it to Parker. Parker driving ball, Eddie just couldn't get there, and in front of him was McDonald taking a saving mark.
Great mark by McDonald in the conditions, who switches to this broadcast side. One-on-one contest. Pongaracic at front position. Crocker slid in and earned himself a free kick for a one over the shoulder. So free kick to Darcy Crocker. Goes very short, hugs the boundary and finds Tim Johnson. Johnson, he goes extremely short as well to Howard. Howard runs his full measure now, floats it forward. Not a good kick though, and Marshall was back there, had that kick well and truly scouted. And Dylan Marshall just pushes it sideways to Molnar. Molnar for the Bulldogs. High, up and under kick. King the target. Tried to get front position there, Max King. Takes possession now, throws it on the boot. And Staples there tried to knock it towards the boundary line. That's what he did, and it will be a boundary throw in.
And you hear in the effects, Mike, they say Max, Max, and that's more like kick it to Max and we'll all run towards his feet. So they're organising their kicks when they're under pressure to go to Max, and they'll work off that.
Well, it's quite common, isn't it, just for the other players to draw off the ruckman, particularly in the wet conditions.
Boundary throw in, Max King knocked it down to his namesake Dan. Dan King's high, up and under kick. No mark there by Fisher. Ball was shot out to the zippy one, Michael King.
Ooh, high tackle.
Free kick against Schneider. And very demonstrative, Tom Schneider there in his disagreement with the umpire.
Well, was it a bump or a tackle?
Let's have a look on the streaming replay. Bit of a bump, not too much in it. Michael King, renowned goal sneak, of course. Always terrific on the run, this time from a set shot.
Worked it back.
Worked it back beautifully. It didn't look great initially, but he drew it back nicely, and Michael King kicks his second of the day.
Well, that was a great set shot too. It's always hard to judge in these wet conditions when the rain's coming in virtually sideways, and he's worked it well from right to left, but probably a bit fortuitous to get that free kick inside 50. But you got to take your opportunities, and South Croydon on this occasion have done so after probably missing out on a few gettable opportunities in that first half, and they've regained the lead now.
Approaching 6 minutes in this third term. 5-9-39 to Vermont 6-1-37, and there's like a hush over the ground. The rain is just driving everyone into silence, but it's absorbing contest all around the ground. Buxton does well in the ruck, gets towards Snyder, who couldn't burst out of a pack situation, so now he just kicks it off the ground, and the umpire says that's not what you're allowed to do, because Dan King had his hands in the area, and he'll take the relieving free kick in the middle of the ground. He drives a long ball with the rain driving down here at Cheong Park. Great defence there from Vermont. Macomb shares it with Buxton, who shares it with Caney, and now they're trying to work it out into open space. Now they go through the middle, and Schneider's wide open, kicks along to Eddie. One-on-one contest, but Walker judges it nicely, gets to the front position, drops the mark in the slippery conditions, but he drops it to his feet and kicks it off the ground. Gets it to Jones, who just spills it for a sec, but he's got composure to give it to Kilpatrick, who's open on the outer wing. His kick doesn't get the distance, and good body work for the defender. Nicely marked there from Vermont. They go the outer side, 2 grabs at it, good effort, and it's Colopy who gets the mark, goes inboard to the corridor, just over the head, Dogs all over it, and Anderson picks it up, takes on the tackler, gets a handball over to Jones. Jones sees a wide open player in forward 50, and they'll settle for a shot at goal on the mistake made in the middle of the ground, and it's in the hands of Cooper.
We've seen it for most of the afternoon so far. When kicking the ball laterally, you've got to hit your target, otherwise it makes it liable for the other team to attack on the counter, and that's where majority of the goals so far have come from.
There's a very stagnant 3 Dogs, and very surprised, but they're quick to bounce onto the heel, onto the feet, just to run onto it as soon as they knew it was over the head of their opponent. So it's Cooper from 50. He gets some leverage by hooking the ball, and that means it misses to the left. Minor score, South Croydon 5-10-40, leading by 3 points early in this third term. Matt Fodia, boundary side.
Yeah, the rain has really set in here. It doesn't look like there's going to be a break for much longer, so this could be the conditions for the rest of the game. So we're going to have to see sides go a little less laterally and a bit more straight up and down.
1 goal 3 for Daniel Cooper today. Davidson brings the ball back in for the Eagles. Big fly, no one takes the mark. Ellis lost the footy, so did Ainger. Quick kick by McDonald. They compete about 20 metres out. Quick kick came away for Vermont, but Anderson was there to safely hold the mark. Just outside his range, you'd think. Anderson puts it to the top of the square. In fact, it's almost going to carry through for a goal, and the goal umpire is right on the scene there to say, yes, indeed, that is a goal. Frank Anderson kicks a crucial one for the Bulldogs, and they've opened up a handy lead now of 14 points on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
he used Tucker as like a measuring stick. I'll pass to you, but I'll kick it over your head and goes for a goal.
Great goal.
So we'll get score centre from Barry Cotts.
Yes, Forest Hill 8-4-52, leading Nunna Wanting 1-5-12, and Whitehorse Pioneers 11-5-71 to Coldstream 5-5-35.
So you get all the scores around the grounds of the Eastern Football League 4 divisions, but it's the best of First Division or the what will be Premier Division next year. South Croydon, the reigning premiers, in the rain, lead by 14 points, 7-9-51 over Vermont, 6-1-37. Almost 10 minutes gone. Pass goes forward from a free kick at centre forward, and Eddie runs onto it as they just opened up the forward line, and Eddie led Walker to the ball, took a chest mark just from the ball up in the centre. Free kick to Vermont, and the play on situation, and Eddie was awake to it. The opportunity, good lead, good mark, will be kicked from 40. He's kicked 2 goals in the second term.
Needs to kick it.
And he doesn't miss. It is as straight as you could kick a football, and straight over the goal umpire's hat. Vermont 7-1-43, now trailed by 8 points. South Croydon is 7-9-51, 10 minutes gone, third term.
Just have a scoring inconsistency here.
I think they gave a goal to South Croydon when it was a behind.
Yeah.
So is the scoreboard at the ground correct?
No, the scoreboard.
No.
Our scoreboard's correct. Should be 6 goals, 10.
Yeah, I was
7-1.
thinking. So the players have got the incorrect score up.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Well, that's why I was like hesitating. I'm reading a score
It did
going.
look a bit strange.
So we've totally thrown the score. We believe is 6-10-46 to 7-1-43.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed. 3-point lead to South Croydon. They still lead. Last goal by Eddie, of course. Good tackle by Alice. The umpire says he held on too long in the tackle, in fact. So free kick is going to Marshall. Cox, in fact, it is. Liam Cox for South Croydon. Floating kick, pretty good one. Honoured the lead then from Tucker. Tucker slips over, just couldn't quite drag the mark in. Kick tumbles forward. Nicely done there. They teamed together well, the Bulldogs. Walker, sweeping handball was effective to Jones. Jones sells a bit of candy and then switches to the other side of the ground and finds Mallison. Mallison out into open space. Tobin was his target. Tobin takes possession now. Caney sets off after him, but Tobin got his kick in. It was pretty effective, looking for big Max King. Socket off the ground. Vermont had plenty of players back there, and they force a rush behind. And the scoreboard at the ground has been fixed up now. South Croydon 6-11-47 to Vermont 7-1-43 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
Glad they're listening to us, and Lee with on the camera and working the live stream, doing a beautiful job. Right score.
No,
so,
ours is wrong at the moment.
I'll try to give him a rap. Don't say he made a mistake. As the kick goes, Vermont gets out of defence, but Marshall's the man on the spot on the outer wing. Gets it into Cox, who's on the middle of Geelong Park. He spears a pass in, finds his teammate. We'll just see what options do Molnar have. Kicks it long towards his leading option, and it was a spilled mark by Max King, and he'll do the ruck duties as he spilled it over the boundary line. He led that wide into the pocket. So it's now the Dogs just having most of the territory this quarter, or this last 5 minutes or so at least. 6-11-47. Lead by 4 points over Vermont 7-1-43. I've always got to check with the other guys here to see what score is correct.
That's out on the full. I think it's gone off the leg here.
And the boundary umpire right on the spot.
They're going to confer now. The boundary umpire and the field umpire.
We'll get VAR soon. And it's a free kick to Vermont deep in their defence. And they'll...
Could probably do that these days. We got the screens in here.
Yeah, we'll shout out. We'll get Matt Fodia to give the official word. As Molnar chops the ball up and he'll drive it from half forward to full forward. The pack of Bulldogs get onto it. Now it's close to the line, but can't be held in as Kilpatrick couldn't run onto the open ball. And it's over the behind. Boundary. So it's 5 points of difference, 6-12-48 to 7-1-43. Let's go to Matt Fodio and boundary line.
I don't have my little TV screen down here, Gav, to do VAR, but what I can tell you is Andrew Pretto, even just touching Frank Anderson now right on the boundary line almost, he just won't let him out of his sights.
High up and under kick. Tucker got hands to it. Couldn't quite drag the mark in. Nicely done by Eddie. It was a very clever little tap. Tumbling kick. Cox tries to grab it. Marshall in support, did well. Marshall's neat kick is a good one, and he finds Pongracic, whose long kick to a massive pack of players. The ball carried over the back. Did someone get a hand
Zippy
to
got
it?
shepherded.
Vermont managed to steady.
Good tackle.
Great chase, terrific tackle.
Well done.
And that was good footy from the Bulldogs. And holding the ball paid, so I think it was McCaffrey there who was well tackled.
Yeah, brilliant tackle applied there from Pat Rosier of South Croydon. Just caught the Vermont defence napping on that occasion, and didn't they let the Vermont defenders know about it?
We'll have the rain pouring in his into his face as he has this shot at goal. Very heavy rain at the moment.
11-point lead, and the buffer of that advantage in this weather would be very, very handy.
Just one behind today for Patrick Rosier. Walks in and did that very well indeed. Wasn't the easiest kick in the world, but he made it look pretty easy. And South Croydon kicked the goal. They move on to 7-12-54. Vermont 7-1-43. Bendigo Bank scoreboard as we cross to Barry Cotts with some more score updates.
Yes, Division 2 scores, and Upper Ferntree Gully 4-3-27 to Mitcham 3-3-21. Lilydale 8-8-56 to Croydon 2-4-16. Bayswater have turned it around and now leading. Bayswater 5-11-41 to Mulgrave 4-3-27. Wanturna South 3-8-26 to Park Orchards 3-3-21, and Doncaster East doing it easily 12-12-84 to Mooroolbark 3-2-20.
And Damo, the presence of Zippy King, 4 defenders were more intent on keeping him away from the ball, and when they finally got their hands on it, they got chased down.
Yeah.
Yep. So the kick won by Vermont, but their kick's been chopped off, and it's Cox at the back of the square, working it to Molnar. Molnar hands it off to a runner as they try to work through Tobin, who gives it to his teammate in Mallison, who gets it forward into the pocket. Vermont have got some numbers, but the tackles are flying in by the Dogs. Good forward pressure. Heap of pressure on Purdy now as he picks the ball up, and he's happy to be tackled over the boundary line and out of bounds 40 metres around from the Bulldogs' goal.
They are looking dangerous, South Croydon, not only winning it out of the centre, but also that entry into the forward line. Even though it's not direct, they are putting the Vermont defenders under pressure, and it doesn't have to be direct in these sorts of conditions, because you're not going to get clean ball use anyway.
Well, that's an errant throw in, and Buxton just says to the umpire, we're going to have another go at this, and he says, yes, I will. I'll put the order in. Must have slipped as he's trying to get that extra distance, this boundary umpire. So we've got a bit of a stop in play. King just takes front position. Buxton uses his body well. Then he does the double fister punch. And Anderson does something similar. Only one fist though. And the kick goes long into the forward line.
Well done.
Big spoiling punch by Vermont. But it's in a congested area. And the Dogs are flying the tackles in, hoping to be rewarded with a holding the ball decision. But there's been no prior opportunity. And Vermont under a heap of pressure. Defending their back line here. 16.5 minutes gone. Ball in dispute. It's bobbling around. It's a slippery ball even if you claim it. And Molnar is tackling his opponent down the ground.
To Barry Cotts.
Yeah, Division 1 ball and 10-minute mark, third quarter ball and 8-8-56 to North Ringwood 5-9-39.
Closed in.
Buxton wins the tap, but the Dogs will get it through Molnar. High up and under. Only goes 10 metres with 30 up. Comes back down to earth. Left behind. Kick in the pocket. What a
they're
Cooper.
appealing.
It just must have missed, because as soon as Cooper kicked, he put the arms up to celebrate, but it just went over the big stick, and it's a minor score. South Croydon a 7-13-55, leading by 11, 7-1. Well, what are we up to? I'm totally confused.
South Croydon lead by 12 points.
12 points.
In fact, they lead by 12 behinds.
7-13 to 7-1.
So that's 1 goal for Daniel Cooper today. As the ball comes back in, Ainger the target, set himself and got the fist to it behind Tucker there. So a boundary throw in. 12 behinds the margin. South Croydon 20 scoring shots to Vermont's 8, but they only lead by a couple of goals. Boundary throw in. Tucker this time will do the ruck work. Ball fell well short of the two competing ruckmen. McComb's handball was intercepted by King. Kilpatrick over the footy, and Colopy there bundled him up.
Gav, Brad, you've been with the EFL a long time. What's the worst? Which ground did you see the worst conditions? We'll get back to it in another stoppage.
I have a think about that over the many years. Handball was shot out. A lot of players crash in. Schneider fed out the handball. Strong tackle applied. Colopy, his handball backpedaled. Quick kick up towards the wing. Ainger, no mark. And the mark taken there by Schink for the Bulldogs. Tom Schink.
Oh, dangerous.
Measures the kick. Nice one. Got it to
I got
Cass.
space here.
Cass's kick, not his best effort, but Cox led the race, led the charge to the ball, was well wrapped up by Caney. Ball spilled clear. Cass over the footy.
Well done, Mallison, just forcing it forward at will.
A dive in over the ball. No one's able to get a clean possession. Purdy there was wrapped up. There's a Bulldogs player, Mallison it was, who just looked hurt for a second, but he's okay. And it's still 12 points to lead. It's going to be hard to bridge that gap because at the moment there's no clean footy.
No.
Colopy missed the tackle. Quick kick, high up and under kick by Cass. Big pack competing for it. Came off hands, handball spun out.
No.
Fisher though, steadied for Vermont, gave it to Preto. Preto's neat kick was a good one, and he finds Jake Best on a long lead at halfback.
So Best in transition are Vermont as they go out wide. Looking for the next option at a half forward. Long down the line, in good position. Held was Eddie by one arm. His left hand couldn't get towards the right hand when he's trying to mark because Walker had it by his waistline, holding it back. So he got away with one there, Walker. Smart, I suppose.
That was better ball movement, though, from Vermont. Good pass at centre half back. They could have easily blazed away, but waited for the traffic to catch up, and now the ball is on their half of the ground.
So it's a 12-point lead for South Croydon. 21 minutes gone in this term. Buxton had an uncontested effort, and his tap just went back to the boundary line, and Walker allows it to go over. So we'll have another go at it. Hopefully this one won't be too short.
Max King playing a kick behind the play instead of contesting in the ruck contest. So he's going to chop.
In front of the play, Damo. They're kicking this way.
Yeah, indeed, in front of the play.
So in terms of Tucker's been using his body well, so he's not... doesn't have shortcomings against Buxton. He wins the tap by good position. Anderson gets taken down in a tackle as it came towards him, and Buxton was on the spot to claim it, but Molnar claimed him. So it'll be ball up 60 metres out from Vermont's goal. And the one-hand hold there by Buxton was very impressive as he handed the ball back to the umpire. And there's a free kick off the ball, and it's Colopy whose tagging job has been noticed by the second umpire off the ball, but he took hold of Walker. Strange that he'd want to hold Walker off the ball. So it's Walker from half-back, relieving free kick, long driving kick on the grandstand side of Cheong Park. Vermont claim it at ground level. The quick kick goes towards Snyder. He's usually a good grab for his size. Just sort of dives out of its ball trajectory. Now the Dogs will get it off half-back through McDonald, who loads up a long kick and in good position, nicely marked there by Crowell. So Crowell from the forward line, he just puts the ball into a dangerous centre forward, but it's been chopped off, and Davidson takes the mark, and he's been doing some good work off half-back this term, but this time he gives the job to one of his teammates in Johnson. Johnson over the outer side pushes a kick.
Downfield free, is it?
Yeah, and it will go to Crocker downfield at half-back.
Yep, Crocker on the wing position. Still a 12-point lead to South Croydon. We haven't had a score for quite some time by either side. High kick by Crocker looking for Ainger and fisted away by McDonald.
As long as I don't have to read the scoreboard out, I've been confused for the last 3 attempts at it.
That's correct now. South Croydon 7-13, 55. Vermont 7-1, 43. So they're right on the money here at Cheong Park on that brilliant electronic scoreboard that's so easy to read in any conditions. Molnar, high handball. Strong tackle, little handball shot out to Best. Best got the handball away, and it will be a free kick to Vermont. Can they work their way back here? Not a great kick though. Marshall set himself for it, got the fist away. Preto overran the ball. Goes in hard again. Pongracic did well. Just paddled it out to King. King's handball was pretty effective. to Rosier.
Oh,
Rosier
gee.
tried to scoop it up to Anderson, did it well. Birch throws it on the boot. Birch's kick inside forward 50. Knocked away though. Loose footy. Well done by Jones. Got the handball to Cass. Back to Jones. Matty Jones worked a bit of magic. High up and under, left foot kick. And a nice mark taken. Coming in from the side there by the big ruckman, Liam Whale Buxton, who switches to the outer side, but it was a dangerous kick. Do they concede the behind here, Vermont? Yes, they do. Tim Johnson, wiser heads prevailed. They concede the behind as we cross down to Matt Fodia on the boundary.
Harmon Singh's pretty disappointed then. He wanted Anger to lead up the ground so that Buxton could go down the line. Instead, he had to go across the goal and just got away with it.
Was he angry or was it Anger?
Well, he was... Harmon was very angry at Anger. He was angry at Anger for not leading up.
They've been very good, though, South Croydon, in forcing the ball forward and just persisting. Let's head to Barry Cotts with the score centre.
Yeah, Division 3 scores be 13-785, lead Warrandyte 4-731.
So it's now still in the Dogs area. Boundary throw in 50 metres out. Buxton wins the tap as he got front position. King's at boundary side. He'll pick it up. Just spilled it. I reckon McComb fell to ground. If he could have picked it up, might have had a chance to drive a long kick into the forward line. But it's now 60 metres away from goal for the Dogs. 25 minutes gone in this third term. Good quarter for them. They've added 3 goals, 5 to extend their 2-point halftime lead to 13. King gets in front position, but it rolls off his fist to the back of the pack where the numbers are with Vermont. Preto will pick it up, hands it off to the runner. As it's the kick by Davidson is out on the full, and it's now a turnover to kick to Walker, and it was Parker that time who had the kick under a heap of pressure and kicked it out in the full. So it's Walker who'll take it at half back for the Dogs.
Yeah, Dale Walker just in front of his interchange, the Bulldogs interchange area. Walker's high kick. Big contest for it. Angel did pretty well in front position against King. Socket off the ground. Didn't go too far. Good tackle by Best. Buxton fed it out to Preto. Preto's kick tumbles into the path of Angel. Socket off the ground by Alice. Along the deck. This looks promising. Eddie, will the ball stay in? It's a great effort by Brett Eddie. The bounce just
kick it off the ground.
Eluded the goals. What an effort by Brett Eddie. One more metre and it was a goal, but it hit the goal line and then bounced away. So minus score for Vermont. 7 goals 2. That's just their second behind of the day. South Croydon are 7 goals 14 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
And the luck of the bounce, there was 2 Eagles in the goal square, but the defender was able to claim it and rush it behind.
It was good defence too, because it was 1 on 2.
Yeah, so the kick out was marked by Anger, who's going to kick from beyond 50. He's just going to put a ball into a hot spot, and he's going to get there, and he hits him on the top of the chest, and he stormed into the ball and grabbed it in as he dived into it. He's come to ground holding the ball with a mark. 30 metres out from goal, which will be much needed for the Eagles as they close towards three-quarter time. They want to get back to a 6-point deficit.
That was good delivery there from Ainger onto the chest of Brett Eddy, because South Croydon had filled many of the holes in their defensive 50, so the kick needed to be precise, and it was.
So what you know with Ainger is that if you put a low ball in, and you're going to have a guy like Eddie who knows where to, if he can run into it, he'll take the mark. He's got 3 already. He works the goal umpire, but he'll come back to the middle of the goal square and signal a goal. Goal number 4 for Brett Eddy, and that is goal number 8 for Vermont. 8-2-50, trail by 6 points. South Croydon less goals on the board, but lead by 6, 7-14-56.
You'd have to say Brett Eddy has done his job already. 4 out of 8 goals in these conditions is a magnificent effort, and he split the middle. And it's harder than it looks to kick the ball straight from that distance when it's wet and it's raining relatively heavily. So Vermont really did need that goal as well. South Croydon had the momentum, set for a good contest.
Let's go to Barry Cotts.
Yeah, three-quarter time, Division 4, Surrey Park, 7-7-49, lead Fair Park, 4-4-28.
Well, 4 goals for Brett Eddy today. That's a great effort. 4 out of 8 goals that the team has kicked. And in these conditions, he's certainly doing his bit for the cause. Socket off the ground. Tackle applied there by Preto. And we will go down to Matt Fodia once more on the boundary.
Yeah, Tom Schneider's gone deep forward here, guys, so he's got a bit of a mismatch, and now he's coming up the ground, but he did go deep forward. He's been doing that for most of the quarter.
No decisive winner in the ruck contest that time. Anderson chisels the kick nicely. Got it to Tobin. Tobin's thumping kick. Inside forward 50. Johnson worked back well. Tim Johnson clearing kick, and he finds Howard. Now Howard, no right foot really for Cam Howard, so he had to sort of just stop and prop then and get onto his left. And he found Crocker. Darcy Crocker.
Bereft of options.
Out on that wing, wants something to kick to. Measures the kick and finds Schneider on a long lead. Tom Schneider says, just slow it down. There's not much time left. The siren, in fact, sounds at that moment. I think he instinctively knew somehow.
So did you.
And South Croydon, 7 goals, 14-56. Lead Vermont, 8 goals to 50. A 6-point lead to the Bulldogs at three-quarter time. In that quarter, South Croydon kicked 3 goals, 5 to Vermont's 3 goals, 1. So it was a great quarter of football to watch, and we are set for an exciting last quarter in this grand final rematch, Damo.
Indeed we are. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay tuned to EFL Game Day, the final term of the grand final rematch in Division 1 between South Croydon and Vermont. We're set for yet another great finish. It is South Croydon 7-14-56 leading Vermont 8-2-50 with a quarter to play. We'll be back with the final term and all the around the ground scores right after this.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mum for everything